Welcome back. Now let's talk about something which is very important, which is types and variables. What is a variable? Variable simply is a name given to a storage area that our programs can manipulate. This is here a syntax, as you can see, to define a variable named x of type int, which stands for integer, and setting it to 1, the value 1. And the semicolon here, all the or most of the statements of C# programming is ending with this letter here, which is semicolon. And in the second line, we defined a variable called name of type string and set the name to John, and also ending with a semicolon. Now, let's see some basic data types in C#. Actually, this is some of them. There is many more than this. And the very famous one that you will be seeing a lot is the int, which is store integer numbers like 3 or 2000 or any integer number. It has a minimum and it has a maximum, and we will discuss this but later. The float, double, and decimal, the three of them are storing floating point numbers. There is some small little differences between them, and we will also discuss about that, but the three of them are storing a floating point numbers. String is very obvious that it's storing names or characters or addresses or anything that's a string. Boolean, on the other hand, is very simple. It's storing either a true or false, a 0 or 1 values. Now let's go ahead and see how can we do this in C#. First, let's go ahead and create a project. Again, open the Visual Studio. Go ahead and from File, New, Project. Go ahead and type the project name. I will call it Variables. It's creating the solution and the project as we have seen in the previous lecture. Now we have it. Now let's go ahead and start typing. Go ahead and, like in the example, I will enter the type Kent. As you can see, it's turning blue, which means that that's a keyword in C# language. I will name it X and I will set it to 1. Or I can set it to anything, 2 for example. Okay, now I have a variable named X of type int and its value is 2. Let's go ahead and display it using the same class and method. Now let's type it. Number X is actually this here, the double quotation, anything between a double quotation in C# is displaying as it is. This is a text that will be displaying. To give or concatenate or add the X here, we can just come here and focus with me, just add a plus sign. That's not a mathematical plus, it's just a plus to concatenation. This is called a concatenation. To the string, I will tell it concatenate the X, so this will display it. Now let's run and see how this goes. Okay, number X is 2. Excellent. What if I wanted to change number X for some reason, that X was multiplied or change it for any reason? I can just come here and I will not define it again. I will not tell that it's an int. I will directly use it. Already C# already knew that it's an int. I will come here and tell it that X equal to 5, for example. And I can run again. What do you think will happen? It will display 2 or 5? It will display 5. Because what is happening here, that X was defined at the start of the program as a number 2 or set to the value of 2, and I overrided the settings, or in a later stage I assigned number 5. And as you may have noticed, the equal here that we are using is not like the mathematical equal that we use to match two things or two numbers. This equal here means that set or assign the value on the right to the variable on the left. which is here 5 and x, or 2 and x. Okay, what if I wanted to display the 2? I can come here as well and write line again, and I'll tell it number x is, again, do the concatenation thing and the semicolon. Go ahead and run it. See, it was 2, then it was changed to number 5. Now, enough with the integer. Let's go and see the floating points. Let's go ahead and define 3 variables. I will define a double variable called double a or double num, and set it to 0.0. And to specifically define that this number is a double, we can come here and type d, which would represent the double. And I will come here and add a float number, and I will call it float num. Again, I will put 0.0, and the letter for float is f. And finally, the decimal, I will call it decimal num and 0.0. And the letter for the decimal is something you may not have thought of, which is m. I know it's not very relevant, but it's m. Okay, now let's display this 3 of these variables. I'll not display messages, to go ahead and display them. Num first, and as you're expecting, it will be displaying the 0. You see? I can come here and assign a value to it. I can call this double, this one, double number equal 1.8, the gravity, for example. I can just run it, and see, it's displaying the message. And I also can come here and tell it that the float number equal 5.5, and the decimal num equal 100, and this number. And actually, don't forget to put the f in here, and the decimal will be m. Okay, if we run this, nothing will happen because we're not displaying all of them. Let's come here and tell it that the double is concatenated. And to concatenate another thing, we can come as well and tell it plus sign and double quotation, and again the float is, and concatenate again, float num plus, again, decimal is, and one last concatenation here is the decimal number. Now run it and see it. See, the float is 8.0, the double actually, and the float is 5.5, decimal is 100.205. And actually they are all without spaces because I did not add any spaces. I can just come here and add a space, and come here and add a space, and run it again. It will be with the spaces and looks a little bit better. Okay, that's it for now for the basic data types. We'll be discussing more and more about data types because they are very, very important. See you in the next lectures.